yet again we have to begin with the Labor Party and the problems herein thereof. You just saw Stephen Conroy talking on Richo's program moments ago. A passionate discussion about why the rank-and-file members of the Labor Party shouldn't be deciding who their leader is. It should be the good old boys and the backroom boys. Now, there is a good and a fair point to be made about the party being leaderless for the next few weeks, but once again, here is the former Communications Minister, one of the Gillard troop who has remained relatively silent during the past 3 months of the Kevin Rudd destruction. Have a look.
The Parliamentary Labor Party should have the right to pick and choose its leader. A parliamentary Labor leader cannot sustain their leadership if they do not have the support of a majority of their colleagues. And these rules that have been put in place will make us a laughing stock.
Now, what's interesting here, and that point is a good and a fair one, but you would remember that when Kevin Rudd decided to make these announcements, there was a meeting. There was a caucus meeting of the Labor Party. It was held at the Balmain Town Hall. It was held in July of this year. Now, the Balmain Town Hall is where the Labor Party began, and Kevin Rudd wanted to have the meeting there to change the rules on who picks the leader at that meeting. Now, while we have never known what the actual vote numbers were of that caucus vote, we were told that it was overwhelming that the members of the Parliamentary Party decided to change the rules. So herein we have a problem. The problem is this. If so many people had quite a logical, quite a reasonable, and to be honest, quite a smart objection to these leadership changes, why didn't we hear about them at the time? This in and of itself is one of Labor's biggest problems. Saying one thing when they need us before an election and saying another after the election. That's why you get nonsense like this from Bill Shorten.
I understand that the Prime Minister's addressed this in a press conference in Turkey in the last few hours. I haven't seen what she said, but let me say I support what it is that she said.
Hang on, you haven't seen what she said?
But I support what my Prime Minister said, so...
Well, what's your view?
Well, my view is what the Prime Minister's view is. These matters have yet to be established, and I support what our Prime Minister has said.
But you don't know what that is?
Well, I'm sure she's right.
See, this is the problem. It's a problem with modern politics, and it's a reason why the government lost the way that it did on Saturday. It's a trick and a problem that could be there for Tony Abbott, but here's the point. In modern politics, you're never allowed to hear the dissenting voice. Somehow, if you hear from a passionate minority, they're trying to be destabilising against their leader. If there was such a good pocket of people and such a strong pocket of people who made such a logical argument against this change, where the hell were they? Why did they just zip up and say, well, if the leader wants it now, we'll let them have it and then we'll change it after the election? This is the problem. For the Labor Party to grow and to find its future, it needs to throw away the script. We are all adult enough to understand that in a room of 50 people, not all 50 people will agree on the issue. In fact, it might get right down the middle. It might be 26-24. And under the caucus rules, you vote, and then fine, everyone goes out and argues the policy. But there's no wrong with a little bit of dissension, dare I say, a little bit of free thought, even if you're on the losing side of the democratic debate. You see, that's the whole point of a democracy, is to be passionately in the minority. There's nothing wrong with being in the minority. It's the way that they pretend there is no minority when clearly there's a very vocal one that makes me deeply frustrated. These are the seeds of further defeat for the Labor Party, let alone reminding everyone about yet another reason why the author, director and creator of the Rudd Gillard soap opera probably shouldn't lead the Labor Party, this or any